You are in the room where it happens. We are here back once again. It is Thursday. It must be 3:12 in the afternoon because you're back once again on Hurdlers of Adversity, Inspirers and Maximizers of Pivotal Moments. So what do? Well, I'm just going to host you through amazing individuals who just share their amazing experiences with us and how they've overcome some of their adversities in their life and how they're now teaching it to us. And we have such a guest on today. We always have these amazing rock star individuals. I work with, my name is John Register. I'll be your host, and I'm just working with business professionals to really help them hurdle adversity, amputate fear, embrace a new normal mindset to win the medals that are in their lives. That's what we do. This show is all about getting up and close and personal with the stories of individuals kind of like mindset that are going to help us, overcome some of the things that we're going through. You think about the pandemic, you think about race relations, you think about contentious political elections, whatever it might be that's going on in your world. These individuals somehow seem to transcend that. They get over it, and then they graciously give that spirit back to us so that we can do the same as well. So thank all of you for coming on. I see we got a couple people on right now, so we want to make sure we are recognizing you. Put yourself in the chat box because I want to see who is on. I want to shout you out. We always put you on the timeline so everybody gets a chance to see you. Where are you watching this live stream from? So our theme this past month, of course, with African Americans, except for the Super Bowl, we had all these amazing individuals on. And beginning with Craig Doman, he talked about he was a person who does NFL, and he's an agent, sports agent. We've had last week on from Indeed, Dane Browner. So he's a global advisor there. Hey, Lynn is on. All right, Lynn. So I'm so glad that you have come back. So Lynn is, my heart, because she's always like one of the first ones on the show. And so thank you, Lynn. Please get out there, share it. Hello, and welcome to you. So we had some other great individual guests on as well. We had Karen Allen Millsap on 2 weeks ago. She was fantastic. You have to hear both of those shows, all of those shows, really, because these individuals really are fantastic. Last week we celebrated Garrett Morgan. He invented the horse after the horse and buggy. He invented the traffic light, the 3-signal traffic light that we have. So we were talking about Black inventors. And the reason he's so important to me is because my grandfather was 9 years his junior, grew up in the same town of Paris, Kentucky, and those two were friends, childhood friends. And while Garrett Morgan went on to invent, the gas mask, the fire hood, and all these things that have saved a lot of lives, my uncle, my grandfather was over in Detroit, Michigan, and worked as security for a bank, but he had a side hustle. He had a business because he was brilliant with building watches. And how, I think all the time of how further down the road might we be as a nation if we really could have just celebrated all the gifts that came to us from everybody. I mean, could we have gotten to the moon faster? Because we only had a certain few people working on the project. If we would have had everybody kind of working with all the skill sets and really pushing forward in their amazing gifts, we might have gotten there just a little bit quicker than when we talked about the big Russian race that we had. So today, Lewis Latimer. So who's Lewis Latimer? Of course, he worked with Thomas Edison, and Thomas Edison, we all say, invented the light. We got all these lights coming at us from everywhere. But Thomas Edison couldn't get the light bulb to actually burn for an extended period of time, not beyond like 15 seconds. It was Latimer who invented the filament that was able to get that light bulb to burn and burn a long time, so that now we have light that goes beyond 15 seconds. So there you go. Lewis Latimer. Check him out. Great inventor that was on Edison's team. So you have it for our show. This is the last one we do for Black History. Next month is Women's History. So we're kind of going into that this week with an amazing guest that I have on today. So like I said, last week's show was Dane Browner. We had Craig Doman. We had Karen Millsap Allen. In January, we also had all the Olympians on. So some phenomenal Olympians. Go back and check those shows out as well. So as soon as you see the post come, please share it. Want to just get it out there to as many people as we can. Tell them that it's live. We're live right now. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, or if you're in LinkedIn Live, we want to know that you are here. So thank you for being on with us. So who am I? John Register. here's kind of my journey. At 5:29 in the afternoon on May 17th, 1994, I was one of the fastest hurdlers in the United States. At 5:30, I would never run another hurdle in my life. It's because I misstepped a hurdle, dislocated my knee, severed the artery behind the kneecap, and 7 days later became an amputee. So I started going down this downward spiral. And it was my wife who said, you know what, John, we're going to get through this time together. It's just our new normal. And so in that moment, I realized that the new normal was not a destination. I was never going to be back to a place previous, right? There's no going back to that place of having two legs, except with an artificial leg. And normal is not the everyday typical occurrence or it is the everyday typical occurrence of a thought or an action. So I had to put in my rituals leading on to my rhythm elevating me to my rise, and my rise then creating the results that I wanted. So here, LinkedIn Live indeed. So thank you, LinkedIn user, for being on. Who is that? We want to know who you are. So please put that in the chat box. We want to see you. So I started swimming for physical therapy. Went on from there and made the Paralympic swim team. Paralympic games for athletes with physical disabilities and visual impairment, unlike the Special Olympics for cognitive disabilities. And I saw athletes running and jumping on artificial legs. I had a leg made for running, and then 4 short years later, won the Paralympic silver medal in Sydney, Australia, becoming one of only 2 people in the world to have jumped over 17 and a half feet without a leg or a knee. And that birthed some other things in my life, creating the Paralympic military sport program for the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee now. And that turned into Warrior Games, which turned into Prince Perry's Invictus Games. And we just keep on going, right? So the point is not about my life. The point is really about what we do, what you do with your life, and that you are powerful in the connections that you make. Vic Malloy, all right. That's my brother right there from another mother. Thanks, Vic, for being on. Really appreciate you today. So share it, get it out there. Tell all your friends that we're on live right now. We got a phenomenal U.S. Air Force veteran that's on the show. We're about to introduce her in a few seconds here. So we want to know that, again, this show is all about introducing you to individuals who have overcome some type of adversity, and they are now living their life to give back to others. Here is our guest for today. And remember, we always want to stick around because we got this JR's Power 5 question we're going to ask her towards the end of the show. So you got to stick around to hear her answers for this, because I always love that time of the show that we just put in there. So my guest is a TEDx speaker, brand ambassador, Air Force veteran, social media influencer, and the founder and CEO of Mutt Sauce, LLC, a company that makes the sauce for every meal. She is a Clemson graduate with a degree in aerospace and business management. She also holds an MBA in strategic leadership. She has been featured in Forbes.com, Madame Noir.com, CBS News, Black Enterprise Magazine, Military.com, Army Mill, and Air Force Association Magazine. In 2016, she was crowned the second runner-up Miss Veteran America, and she was also selected for the March 2018 cover of Military Spouse magazine. So please welcome the amazing American patriot, Charlinda Scales, ladies and gentlemen. Ma'am, good to see you, ma'am.
Hi.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Don't leave Mom up there.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Look at this. People are starting to come on and saying hello already. Fly, win. Look at that right there.
Hey.
I'm looking forward to this. Absolutely, Peter Leclerc.
Let's go.
So let's go is right. So just kind of starting off a little bit, kind of with the introduction. I gave you an introduction. It's first of all, it's just great to see you. So thanks for saying yes and being on the show. So I know we're gonna have a lot of fun, just kind of with you educating everybody. So I love how you are engaged with so many different things. I mean, you got a life that's going on. It's like, what is happening? But so let's just start with Mutt Sauce. I mean, that's sure. A good place to start. What is it and how did it come to be?
Right. So Mutt sauce is an all-purpose tomato-based specialty sauce. It is vegan friendly. We have one that's gluten-free, but more importantly, this is a family legacy of continued service. My grandfather was a Korean Vietnam veteran. He was in the Air Force too. His call sign was Mutt for his ability to blend in anywhere. So it's called Mutt sauce after him. And I grew up listening to his stories of being in the military. Half of them sounded like tall tales. I'm like, that did not happen. He's like, yes, it did. Most of it was like, I can't believe it. But it was just so amazing. And growing up in Cookeville, Tennessee.
Cookeville.
Yeah.
Cookeville's where you're cooking up the Mutt sauce.
Yes. So my family had been eating this since 1956, and I lived in a small town. So he was really my hero. I'm like, he served his country. He's super smart. He came up with this sauce. We eat it every day. What can't he do? Wow. But that's the origin of Mutt sauce, was his passion to create something that solved the problem of you being wasteful with condiments.
Well, so what's interesting though is you have siblings, and I think if I remember correctly from your bio, right, you're like the youngest.
Oh, that's my mom.
Oh, your mom. Okay, your mom. So didn't he give, like, because that's like a family trade secret, but he didn't give it to anybody.
Right. So my mother had 4 other siblings. She was the second oldest of 5. I was the third grandkid. So the hierarchy, I think I'm 8. So right in the hierarchy.
You're down there a little bit.
I'm down there. So I definitely was not expecting to be the recipient of this recipe. He had cancer, so we learned that when I was still in college, and I was just happy to see him survive to my graduation. He was the first person to salute me before I went in on active duty. And I count that as my happiest memory. So everything after that was a bonus. The company itself was a bonus. I got that moment with my granddad that I'll always cherish. I was very surprised when I was on active duty to learn that he left the recipe to me. And I'm like, not his kids, not the 2 older grandkids, but I'll spend the rest of my life figuring out the why. I'm just humbled that he trusted me to do something.
Well, you went to my next question, because I was going to say, why was it you? Not everybody else. But if you spill the beans here, all the kids are going to be coming back at you. They're going to be coming on you.
I don't know, John, but it's humbling. It is really humbling, and I've enjoyed the journey of just seeing where the road takes us with the recipe.
Well, maybe it's because of the hard work that I see you always doing. And it's not just hard work for hard work's sake. It's hard work with direction. It's hard work with purpose. It's hard work because you have a vision of where you want to go. And as before you kind of get into that, I guess we have an Air Force person on. Airspace, cyberspace, in the house.
Air power.
Air power. So what I'm thinking about is, what it takes, right? So what it takes them to be an Air Force uniformed service member, what it takes to kind of climb the ranks. Mm-hmm. What was it maybe in your childhood or as you were growing up that maybe he saw in you that said, I think she can handle this?
I'm stubborn. I was my mother's only child, and she was a very fiercely determined single mom. For about 11 years of my childhood, it was me and her, and it took her about a decade to get her college degree. And I asked her, I was like, why didn't you just give up? I mean, seriously, that's a lot of time. And she said, because if I stopped, then what message would I have been giving you? That you just, when it gets hard, you quit? No.
Wow.
I had to show you that it was important, that education is important. And I respected that, and her drive and her hustle. And she had days where she would I knew she was going to her room to cry. She would study for a test and sometimes spend so long and then would not pass. And I would come in all excited from school, and she's drying her tears and putting a smile on her face and listening to me instead of, woe is me. She's like, hey, education is important. That's all she'd say. Education is important. Go after it.
Wow. Do you think that, you see some of those lessons even right now? I mean, we talk about living in this pandemic, and living through this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this as, okay, this might be tough, but I've done this before, I can get through it? Or do you see this as one of those moments where I can't even see the light at the end of the tunnel?
That's kind of how my brain works. Is I don't believe in rock bottom. And my mantra is, if you believe in something bigger than yourself, then rock bottom has a trampoline. You are not meant to stay in this situation that we call rock bottom. You were born with a great purpose that our minds cannot even conceive of. You are part of a perfect plan that our minds can't conceive of. And that, to me, is not only humbling, but it also lets me know that this is a time of reflection and reset, not a time of like there's no light. It's just a temporary moment of this did not go the way that I planned, of course, because it's not your plan. That's why.
Right.
Get up. And that's how I look at it. I also tend to see in my life, okay, this was really bad. Is this as bad as that time? No? Okay, you're fine.
I find it fascinating because I was on, we were talking earlier in the green room about Clubhouse, right? This new platform that's out and it's kind of blowing up, and you got all these amazing people that just kind of come on,
right?
Just hanging out, right? I think Bill Gates was on the other day, just kind of just chilling and just answering questions, and you could talk right to the person, right? Because sometimes their brain just thinks a little different way. Malcolm Gladwell, he's on, he's just chilling. And in Clubhouse, I heard, I was in a room where a conversation was going on, and I one of the individuals said that these times are we've been chosen for this time. So the reason why we're living and that we're alive during this time is because we were chosen to handle a time like this, maybe to leave legacy for somebody else, or maybe to get through it. How do you see that is that with your trampoline metaphor of kind of, I don't see rock bottom, we're just gonna bounce from here, kind of like people have talked about, and even in resilience?
It's the lens that you choose to see your situation, with the emphasis on choice. And there are people who have chosen to see this last year as, I can't because of this, or nothing's going my way because of that. And I look at it as there's so much opportunity that has been given to us.
Yes.
And there's so many blessings that have been given to us. Being still and not traveling and spending time with your family, that is a blessing. For those of us that go a million miles an hour, I had a baby the day that they announced the pandemic. So imagine holding your firstborn that you cannot wait to show the world because you're nearing your 40s, and this is a miracle. And the only thing you want to do is show your family. And my son is about to turn a year old, and no one has met him.
Wow.
Right? No one has met him. But I did not spend the year going, oh my gosh, no one has met him. Woe is me. It was, I was given a year of maternity leave. Thank you.
Wow. That's a great, perspective on how to see it. And so, because I include everybody on here. So we have a user says Romans 8:28, and of course it says, and we know that all things work together to those who love God and who are called according to His purpose. So that, I think, sums it up very nicely. There are a lot of ways we can kind of look at that. There's some other philosophers that are out there too saying kind of similar things, but I think that one sums it up very nicely for us. So Air Force, you get in the Air Force, and now it's twice.
Yes.
Right, because you have your little one, and you go back in. But before, what was it? The attraction? I know your granddad is in. He serves in Vietnam. Is that the attraction for you to get in? Or is it aerospace, or is it what's going on?
So we are a multi-generational military family. My year group, my generation is the fourth. And my cousin went to the Marine Corps. So I said, for my generation, he checked the box of being the military person. I was a jock. I wanted to play sports. That's all I cared about. And my senior year, the very first game, when all the scouts are supposed to be there watching you, I tore my ACL in the very first minute of the game. And I was laying there, and up to that point, I'd never had a sports injury. So I was laying there with this pain that I didn't even know what was happening. And, we're that Friday Night Lights type of community down south. So they're like, oh, you're going to get back in the game. You're going to be fine. We're going to put some ice on it. But
ice cures everything.
Yeah, I'm like, one of your athletes, you got to get him back out there. And it wasn't, when you meet with the doctor and he's shaking his head, that's it. You're done. I tried to go back out spring. I rehabbed like a maniac during soccer season to see if I could salvage my track career, and it just, it was gone. Wow. But at that moment, I was sitting in the back of class filling out some paperwork. That's this kid. He said, there's an ROTC, Reserve Officer Training Corps scholarship, but you had to do stuff in high school, and he was going to throw it away. I said, well, I'll fill it out. And that is how I got a full ride to Clemson University. I simplified it, but that's how I got a full ride to Clemson.
That's like spring cleaning. Right? We get rid of all our junk and stuff. It's everything we have for Christmas. We now get rid of in March. Thank you for the gift. I'm going to send it to Goodwill. And so we get rid of the things that we don't desire or want, and all of a sudden somebody picks it up and gives it's a gift to that individual. And
perception.
You say again?
Perception,
right? Perception of it. And you take it and just literally run with the thing. So what were some of the learning, the lessons that you were learning in ROTC as you're getting ready to go in the Air Force? I said, I want to really do this. I want to, sign up to my 6 and learn.
I knew that it could open doors. Once I realized that they paid for school, and I told my mom, found out, she caught the Holy Ghost and was like, this is so awesome. Get out of my house. I'll pack your bag.
Shout your way out my house.
Yeah. I got down there, and it was a whole new world. You're a country girl. It's still the South, but it's probably the most people you've ever been around. So it was a lot of lessons in adapting. They send you to boot camp halfway through college, and that was eye-opening, very in-your-face experience. So many lessons there. We learned everything from if I can't trust you with the little things. I got reamed for probably about 20 minutes. I don't even know how the guy still had breath by the time he was done yelling at me. He yelled at me, John, over a postage stamp that I left unsecured in my locker. And I said, and my response to him was, sir, it's just 35 cents. He said, I can't trust you with a stamp. Why in the world would I give you millions of dollars to lead, military programs? Why would I give you nuclear codes? Why would I, so that was his lesson, was I'm going to ring you and put the fear of God in you, so you will treat a 35-cent stamp with the same reverence as the nuclear code. So
that's a lesson that still rings true for today. And I think that people just don't get it. A lot of folks don't, because we're wanting other people to kind of clean up what we have messed up. Yeah. So that's a great word. So this person says good, bad, and ugly for the good outcome. Yes, there was a good outcome for sure. If you have a question, we're talking with Shalinda Scales. She is the CEO, founder of Mutt Sauce. She's an Air Force veteran. We've been talking with her about some of her things that she has overcome. We're going to get into what she has learned so that she is now teaching to other individuals. But if you have a question for Shalinda, please put it in the chat box. I'm looking over here right now to see what questions that you may have. And also, we want to make sure that we're pushing the show out too. So push this out on your networks because we're going to come up with some really great questions for her. So you're in the Air Force now, and is it a career? Did you want to make it a career?
My grandfather had this philosophy that service was retirement. And I know that was probably like an old-fashioned view on service. Now, I know that if you raise your hand and serve a day, then you've served, that thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm.
And I did go into it. Originally, I was going to do my 4. I got in there, kind of liked it for myself. Now I'm in it because I want to be in. The juncture came when I learned about Mutt sauce, and I was trying to juggle being a new entrepreneur, having never owned a company before,
Mm-hmm.
with being active duty. So I tried to do active duty and run the company at the same time.
Wow.
And I did that for 2 years before the burnout just became too much to bear.
So what was a day like for you then?
I would get up 5 o'clock. I would check my Mutt sauce emails, make sure I didn't miss anything, get to work all day. Lunch breaks, I called my power hour, check those emails again, make sure you didn't miss anything. Go back in, work the rest of the day, get off of work, do your business paperwork, anything that you missed, plan all the events that would happen on the weekend. The weekends were early mornings at farmers markets or events or flying out somewhere. Come back late Sunday night and do it all over again.
Wow. I find that's why I said earlier that you work hard, but the work is very focused, it's very targeted. It's just not you're doing everything. You're very specific in what you are doing. What is kind of your advice for those that are in dual careers, right? Because I don't think it's a side hustle, right? I kind of use that tongue in cheek. It's you're actually working, trying to grow a business as you are in this other entity. And how do you keep those two things kind of moving forward? What's your advice to somebody that may want to become an entrepreneur and is working another job?
Absolutely. And I had to do it during the pandemic too. So it's nothing. I think that people need to be more transparent about the reality of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
The CEO of Bunker Labs, his name is Todd Connor, and he has coined this term called the third shift entrepreneur. And it's basically you're just shifting gears and becoming an entrepreneur in the times that you're not working, doing something else, and you are building your empire while working a job. And there's nothing wrong with that. And we need to remove the stigma of it because we've seen too many of these startup entrepreneurs go into deep amounts of debt. Their family's falling apart because of their entrepreneur journey, because they see something on social media and they think that it's overnight success, that we're standing next to a Bugatti in some private plane, that, you can just throw a bunch of money at it.
You're not
make it happen. And that's just not the truth. And we need to tell them the truth.
Right. Yeah. No, it's freaking hard work. It's hard work, and it's hard directed work, not just hard work for the sake of hard work. And I think that's the big deal. I was talking to someone. I'm on that kick because I was talking to somebody else about it yesterday, and he's right. It's like it's not hard work, John. It's I see people work hard and they have nothing, and I see people not work that hard and they got everything, right? So it's not that's really not the right thing, but it is directed work, right? It's directed at what you're shooting at. And so what makes that happen? This person right now says, I love Shalinda's story, spirit and resilience. What has your son taught you about yourself that you didn't already know? Love that.
Oh, wow. What has he taught me that I didn't already know?
That you didn't already know.
Oh gosh. Well, about me, that I can slow down and that I can say no. Because when he got here, I did a lot of saying no to people. Like, could you do this? Nope.
Nope.
Do that? Nope. And I've become more efficient with my time blocking. And that's a skill that, people teach time blocking on YouTube, things like that. But you have to time block when you have a little one. And I've learned to make my schedule so I've prioritized his needs and still get the job done. And it also taught me that I have to delegate. If I'm going to be efficient, that was one area I was really stubborn in, was I had this, I can do it. And when you're a new mom, you just can't, you can't do it all. And I found freedom in that new skill of delegation. And my family too has grown closer because I think that they like feeling trusted. Like, she trusts me to just handle this. And I like being able to take stuff off my mind because there's a lot on my mind, and it feels good to say, they got it. I'm not worried about it.
I think that question for me kind of dovetails nicely with what you're talking about. And I'm running this business and I'm in the Air Force at the same time trying to run this business. So I got these two hats on. And I know I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. I love how you said the gentleman's name, it escapes me again, but say again.
Todd Connor.
Yeah, Todd Connor. So, talking about the third shift, is that right?
Third shift entrepreneur.
Third shift entrepreneur. And a lot of what I have seen is that there's these kind of two philosophies out there. It's like, one is burn the ships, take off, do your dream, do your passion. And the other one is dip your toe in the water before you jump on the ship, right? To go and do that. Not saying that either one is right or wrong. I think what I'm hearing you say, at least, is that there is something to be said for companies that maybe allow this entrepreneurship spirit to grow inside of their organization, like as almost like an incubator. Because when I was growing my business, working for another employer, the ideas started just coming to me in both arenas, right? So I might think about something when I'm working on my company in the evening time from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, whatever, that I said, oh, that would work perfect over here. And then I could implement that in those strategies. But it was, I think, sometimes just move too fast for individuals, because as an entrepreneur, you just say and go. Right. Whereas somebody else, you got to need a team. Well, let's talk about this and how this connects. No, let's just go. let's just make it happen. How are you going to do it? I don't know. Give me a team. Let's go. So that was kind of the interesting piece of that. What's your kind of advice as people are juggling both of those two things, working for the company, working for their own company, that you would say is kind of the key to actually being successful in it?
Well, this past year, one thing for me is I definitely prioritize what puts food on the table, and making sure I take care of that, because without it, I got 3 mouths to feed, my parents and my baby. And the things that would make the business grow, take the time to put in processes and policies and sharpen the axe, as I call it, from the Abraham Lincoln quote, 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend 4 hours sharpening the axe. You need to sharpen the axe in your company, because there's inefficiencies galore, probably. I learned that with the COVID crisis is we can't do our current business model. I was doing events and stuff like that. We had to pivot fully to e-commerce. Now, when we did that, I said, what's missing? Do we have standard pricing so I can look at every single package and say it costs exactly the same? No, because we were using different size boxes, inefficient. We need to standardize our packaging. We need to standardize our distribution. Now, because they're all the same box, they all have the same weight, they all have the same price. Wow. And that, those are the kinds of things that you need to clean up in your business that will make it easier for you to not always be present. The easier that you make it for somebody else to work with you, the better, or work for you, the better. If you're constantly having to be pulled away on the phone, there's an inefficiency. Just those things you just look at and say, what would keep me from doing both?
Well, you're preaching to me right now. So I'm going to listen to this again, because I'm always answering the phone. I need to give that to somebody. I'm getting better. I am
it's a constant work in progress. And I say I give great hypocritical advice, because it's advice that I need to take sometimes and advice I need to do better. And I'm consciously like, hey, this is what I need to do. Somebody else probably needs to do it too.
Well, I know I need to do it. Sure. So I got a product, right? So I have this, it's a letter opener.
Oh, wow. Cool.
It's a really cool letter opener. And so I have never done a product online sales or anything. What am I missing? Teach me how to put this product into market on my website so that people will buy 1 million of these things. Everybody out there, you can buy one right now. You can get it's engraved. Look at it, engraved. Embrace your new normal now.
So what I've been telling entrepreneurs, especially this year, and this is my big lesson learned, it's not about the product that you sell. It's about the story that you tell. People are looking for connection. They want to be connected to you, the entrepreneur. They want to be connected to the journey. Look, there's a lot of food products out there. There's a lot of sauces out there. I've looked at the ingredients list on some of the top sauces in the world, and it's sludge in a bottle, and they're making $30 million per flavor per year. And that's okay. You know why? Because they tell a good story. When you look at their marketing, I'm like, that's amazing. That's why they're making a lot.
Wow.
And so that's why I told them,
that's great. Go ahead.
I think that because Mutt sauce tastes good is the bonus. That's the icing on the cake. The real work is making sure I get my story out there, like I'm talking to you now, to bring people into the family and have them emotionally invested into what we're doing.
And when a story comes to you in the mail, you have a letter opener to open it.
Your life story is in that product, and that is what you tell them.
Yes, it is.
Because it's an amazing life story.
It's an amazing life story. So we have some other people that have jumped in here, and then we're going to get ready to go to our five. I want to come back. Lynn says, I have one of those fabulous letter openers, and it works great and looks great. I know. Yes. Thanks, Lynn, for the shout out. I appreciate it. And so we have now, Charlene, I love how you have incorporated in a charitable component to your Mutt sauce business. I'm making a purchase immediately after this wonderful conversation. Woo! That is
a discount. If you support a charity, it's a discount.
All right. That's great. So everybody, that goes out and buys Mutt sauce, if you support the charity, you get a discount on it. So I can't wait to go. I'm gonna have to go get mine now. Now she done up the game on me now. So I gotta go out and get my bottles. Because we all gotta have bottles. We gotta have my bottles. You gotta have your bottles.
Yeah, I mean, different flavors. There's one for every family member.
See, that's it. Mm-hmm. All right. So we got JR's Inspired 5 rapid fire flash round.
Okay.
All right. You ready for these? And if you got 5 for me too afterwards, you can get me 5 as well. So here we go. JR's Inspire. We got to do it right. JR's Inspire 5 rapid fire flash round. Sit-ups or push-ups?
Sit-ups.
Best type of music to listen to when you read?
Classical. Where
you go to think?
The shower.
Now that really shocked me. And that was not an answer to that. That's a question. That's a statement that poses a question, but not because you're in the shower thinking, because I do some of my best thing in there too.
The water, the sound is calming.
It is calming. So that's number 4. Now that really shocked me. What was it that really shocked you?
Oh,
that's the question.
That's a question?
That's the question in the statement form.
What really shocked me in life?
Anything.
Oh, when Michael Jackson passed away. That shocked me. Mm-hmm. Oh, my
God. Person who you know who would be great on this show?
Marjorie K. Eastman.
Marjorie K. Eastman. Set it up. All right, here we go. So what this bonus question, what comes to your mind when you hear this quote? The jump is the jump. When vision outweighs fear, we commit to living life courageously.
Right. Well, it's faith over fear. I'm on board with that.
All right.
Jump off the cliff.
Jump off the cliff, and it'll be there for you. Those are my 5. You got any for me?
Let's see. Mutt sauce or Mutt sauce?
That's an easy question. It's only going to be Mutt sauce.
Running or swimming?
Swimming.
Okay. Beaches or forest.
Beaches.
Oh. Ramen or Italian?
You said ramen or Italian?
Yeah.
Italian. Are they both the same thing? I don't know. They're both
No,
noodles.
ramen noodles are Asian.
Nope, they're Asian. Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
thought they're noodles. The noodles.
Noodles, yeah.
Yeah, I like Italian food.
Okay.
Cool.
One more.
Yeah, you got time for one.
Where do you think the best?
On the move.
Like biking.
Anytime I'm on the move, I'm thinking it's
Okay.
it's like it's in a car, it's walking, it's swimming, it's wherever I'm moving around. I try to bring a pad with me because I'm thinking about something.
Mm. So you were I guess it's you are in history, one of the greatest hurdlers of all time.
I gotta make you the host now for this question. I want to make you the host.
Oh, okay. You are one of the greatest hurdlers of our history. So if you could say there's two others, who are the two other good
Hurdlers?
hurdlers?
Whoo! Oh, I'm about to make some people mad now. Oh my gosh. I have to go number one, 400-meter hurdles, Edwin Moses.
Okay.
Edwin Moses. Just incredible. So in the high hurdles, I have to say Ronaldo Skeets Nehemiah.
Wow. Okay.
So both of those two, Ronaldo was the first one to go underneath 13 seconds of the 110-meter high hurdle. So he kind of broke the 13-second barrier, which is like the mythical mile that Roger Bannister broke.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have on the other side, Edwin Moses, who had, I think it was like 117 wins without a loss in finals competition, finally beaten by Danny Harris of Iowa State. So great questions.
Yeah.
And I won't get in trouble because everybody would agree with me on that, except for the ones that are now the best and say, well, I think I'm the best hurdler. But yeah, you got to have your,
no, they
have your heroes.
Get on you guys' level. That's all good.
So those two amazing. All right. So somebody says Edwin Moses. There you go. Right. Okay. Dr. Moses. Absolutely. In the Hall of, not the Hall of Fame, in the United States Olympic and Paralympic Museum,
Mm-hmm.
there are two exhibits that are really significant. Well, actually, there's one that really stands out for me. So Edwin Moses in there, he's talking about how he developed the 13-step process and the thing. But the one that stands out to me the most is the 1980 wall. Because in 1980, the Summer Games for the United States did not happen because we boycotted.
Oh.
The Winter Games did happen. And because the Winter Games happened, we get Miracle on Ice. If we had boycotted the 1980 Winter Games, we don't get Miracle on Ice that happened up in Lake Placid, New York, where, 9 out of 10 times we would have lost to the Russians. But this one time, we beat them, right? And so we have this kind of amazing squad. So I always think about all of the stories that were lost and all of the times to kind of collectively come together as a nation, as a world, that were lost because we boycotted the 1980 Olympics. And there was a wall there. And on that wall is Ronaldo Skeets Nehemiah, who never got a chance to run in the Olympic Games.
Oh.
And because it was amateur sports at that time, and he had to make a living, he went to the NFL and to make to earn money. And when he came back, by the time he went through arbitration to kind of get back in, he just he didn't know if he's even going to make the 1984 team. Because why? Because we had boycotted in 1980, and there was talk about boycotting again in 1984, and he'd already lived through one. So that's that's all. He was the first one of the year on this show,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's a fantastic show to just kind of listen to. And I think that really speaks to the resilience that people have, and how 21 years it took them to kind of get over that moment. It's really powerful.
Right.
And we talk about this 1 year of time we've had in COVID. But as I said earlier, are we made for a time like this? As I heard on that Clubhouse, are we made?
We're all designed for a perfect plan, and he doesn't make mistakes, and we're here.
Absolutely. So what have I missed? What have I missed on our show?
I can't think of anything. This has just been a wonderful opportunity to catch up with you and to discuss a very, very important topic. So thank you, John. Thank you for what you do, and you continue to inspire people just by your testimony and by bringing us to the table to have these conversations.
Well, thank you, Charlene. I really appreciate that. All right, everybody. We've been talking with Charlene Scales. Oh my gosh, you just got to salute you. You want to talk about real patriot? That's the patriot right there. Go drop so I can drop mine. Okay, there you go.
I was gonna hold it there.
That's the respect. That's the respect, everybody. So you talk about real patriotism, that you're looking at it right there, right in front of your face, because patriots, you know what they believe? They believe that our democracy continues to expand to appreciate everybody. So that's what patriots do. Thank you for being on. I really do appreciate it. Stay on for a few seconds. I'm going to wrap the show up right now, and I'll talk to you in just a few minutes. All right, everybody. I'm so glad that you were on. Shalina saying, waving goodbye. Thank you so much for being on. That was totally awesome. Remember, if you are beginning to think about summer and summer grilling, or you just got to put some sauce on your table, you need some Mutt sauce. So go out there and get it. And she said you got a discount even if you start donating to the charity as well. Next week, we will be in the month of March, and that means it's Women's Appreciation Month. And do I have a woman that's going to be on for you? LaTanya Moa. So you're not going to want to miss her either. So the next big announcement, you got to go out and buy the book on Kindle. It's 10 Power Stories to Impact Any Leader. Journal Your Way to Leadership Success. That's the book that was out. I wrote during the pandemic. Was to help all of us just kind of tell our own story journeys. And Charlinda was saying that a little bit earlier. You know, what stories are we telling ourselves? And then finally, we have you can go and join the Facebook group, which is Amputate Fear. It's the Amputate Fear group. So you go to facebook.com/groups with an S/Amputate Fear, and we'll let you on in there. We have some great dialogues and conversations. And then what else we have? Subscribe to the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing to it. Put that notification on so you can hear all these guests who actually come up. And then go buy the Mutt sauce. All right. You are the inspirations. Inspirations are the catalyst to motivation. Motivation in turn causes actions. Actions lead us to transformational results. And these results re-inspire us or allow other people that are watching the process catch the vision. And when vision outweighs fear, we commit to living a courageous life. Go forth, inspire your world, everybody. We'll see you back here next week on Conversations with Inspirers and Maximizers of Pivotal Moments. Bye for now.